This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual PURGE sanctioned by the U.S. government. DNFing books for any reasons have been authorized for use during the PURGE. Books that are not in the included category for the video have been granted immunity at this time and shall not be purged. Commencing at the siren, any and all DNFing will be legal until the end of this video. Bookstores of any kind will be unavailable until the end of the video until the PURGE concludes. Blessed by Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores, and all other booksellers, a nation reborn. May God be with you all. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be starting a very interesting project. Welcome to the mini purge. I thought it'd be super fun just to do like one of these mini purges outside of our regular purge series where we're gonna do a Valentine's Day edition. We're probably not gonna get through that many things, but I thought it would be fun to kind of go through the books that I have on my TBR that are romance books, because we really just don't talk about that much romance on this channel, but I have a ton of romance books. Like, I have a lot of romance books that I don't know why I've bought this many, because I'm not reading them. I love romance when I read it sometimes. Sometimes. I just attempted The Deal by Elle Kennedy and that was not it for me. Like, that was not it for me. I can understand why people liked it. Not it for me. So I was looking through my romance books that I have, and definitely there are some on there that I'm like, why? Why? Like, what was I thinking when I bought this? I literally have the special edition of Icebreaker. Haven't read it. Don't think I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna try to like it though, because I love that edition of the book. Part of me is hoping I pull Icebreaker, and part of me is hoping that I do not. Because we are pulling from the mystery TBR jar. I have so many romance books. So the books that have gone into here, what I am qualifying as romance books are I think there's like maybe one fantasy book. I didn't do any romantasy. There is one romance that has like a twist of fantasy on it. Like something like, I don't even remember now. Like, I'm thinking about it, don't even remember now. But it would be something like Bride, where it's like, this is romance and not really that much romantasy. Like, it is about the romance. And what we're actually starting with is Deep End, but I don't have it yet. It is February 3rd, so I am planning to go out and get that tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. But I figured we would go ahead and pull our first pick, because I want to basically read romance from now until Valentine's Day and hopefully release this on Valentine's Day potentially. But I kind of just like want to get through a bunch of my romance books that I have that I haven't, especially ones that I haven't touched in a while. I have two Mariana Zapata books that I haven't even looked at a second time since I bought them, and then I literally just bought, so if you guys have seen a vlog before, you know that I wasn't supposed to let this fill up. Like, this is my reading journal, so there is like 2 more spaces on here, but it's looking pretty rough. But I've got 3 romances right here. I did not include the favorites in here because to me that is more, a little bit more literary fiction with a romance in it. So I didn't include that. So that's what I'm talking about, like the criteria for what's put in here. It is generally contemporary romance. There are some like young adult, there's some adult in here. It's mostly adult books. But yeah, I've got 2 Abby Jimenez's. I've got Yours Truly, Just for the Summer, All Roads Lead Here, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, 3 Emily Henrys. I am terrified of pulling an Emily Henry because I've yet to read an Emily Henry. I think I have People We Meet on Vacation, Funny Story, and Book Lovers. And then I just have like a bunch of random ones. Like, I have so many random ones. Like, there's some TikTok sensation ones, but it's just random stuff. There's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So we're gonna read Deep End first. I'm getting that tomorrow. We're reading that tomorrow, but I figured I might as well start one today because I'm in a romance mood. Like, I am not hugely into fantasy right now. So I am reading Watermoon right now for one of my other videos. So I kind of want another, like, I want a romance to read in between chapters of this because this book is kind of heavy. Like, I wasn't expecting how heavy this book is. So let's do this. I'm hoping for an Abby Jimenez. I feel like Yours Truly would be a really good pick. I'm hoping for any of these new ones. I would love that to clear these off the shelf. I don't know if I want to read Pictures of You because that is a more serious one. So I don't know if serious book, not great. But I would love the Wedding Dashers. I think Wedding Dashers would be a really good pick. I'm okay with the Mariana Zapatas. I don't know if that's exactly what I like want to read. Oh yeah, we have Dating and Dismemberment, which could be really fun. I don't know. That was kind of a spur of the moment buy. I don't know, monster romance, but it's not like super smutty monster romance. I don't know. I don't know, I bought this like random stuff, just such random stuff. Oh yeah, and then I literally just bought Pride and Premeditation, which I think is more like mystery romance, which I love. I love mystery romance. I think that is so much fun. That is like my favorite blend of genres. I'm putting it off. Could you tell that I'm putting it off? Okay, let's start The Purge. Again, we're reading Deep End first, but I wanted to get my first pick up because I can't go get that book until tomorrow, which makes me very, very sad. So, very first pick. I tried to make sure this was really mixed. Oh no, I guess that's the one we're picking. Oh, I'm freaking out. What does that say? People we meet on vacation. People we meet on vacation. I don't even know where this book is. Why? Like, Funny Story, I know exactly where Funny Story is. I know exactly where Book Lovers is. I have no idea where People We Meet on Vacation is. Oh my god. Is this worst case scenario? I could have picked Icebreaker. That's definitely not worst case scenario. Is that a good pick for a first Emily Henry? I guess we're reading People We Meet on Vacation. Let me go see if I can find it, and I'll show you it if I can find it. I'm stressed. I'm tearing up. I'm so stressed. Man, I went upstairs. To that hellhole where all my books are piled around everywhere because we are still trying to figure out what we want to do with that room upstairs. So annoyed with that room. But yeah, I went upstairs thinking that this book was up there in a pile somewhere, and so I spent a half an hour upstairs in the stacks. And no, I had brought it downstairs thinking ahead. I actually brought it downstairs, and it was just sitting in one of my shelves downstairs. So I found it. It's chunky. it's a lot chunkier than I thought it was. So I'm really nervous. I'm so nervous. I have never read an Emily Henry, and my expectations are so high that I feel like it can only be bad. Like, it can only be a bad situation. But I've heard people really, really like this one. I kind of am sad. I kind of wanted to read Book Lovers as my very first one, but this is what has been chosen. And I have heard people absolutely love this one. So let's start reading People We Meet on Vacation. Surprise, surprise, I forgot to film in the bookstore. Is anybody surprised? Is like anybody surprised? I love how I literally was sitting in my car outside of Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I was like, okay, we're gonna film. It's gonna look so cool. I'm gonna look around. And then the second I got out of my car and I see the big Barnes & Noble sign, I'm just like, ah, and then I forget everything that I'm doing. So we did successfully. It took me a second. I didn't think they actually had it. I was like, am I gonna have to ask somebody? And it's like in the back somewhere. And I always feel bad doing that because then they have to go search for it in the back. But we did get Deep End. I love it. I think it looks so good. Like, I'm a little iffy on a lot of the special editions that are being put out by publishers. Like, sometimes I don't think they look that good. But I like this. This looks good. I think it's because it's a simpler design, so it's not like that hard to like put on a paperback, because sometimes the paperbacks can look a little bit janky with the sprayed edges. But I love this. I think this looks great. My only problem actually is the paperback. It's a I don't know if it's because they have this little thing, but it's one of those hard paperbacks where it's like you don't like, it's stiff. So if I open it, it's going to crack along that spine right here. And I don't want to do that. This book is so pretty. But I don't think my Alcrate, because I did order Alcrate edition. I don't think my Alcrate edition is coming, or else I would switch to reading that one. But I guess we're just going to be stuck reading this one. But yeah, this is not going to be a fun book to read, because I'm going to crack the front, like the cover right here. Because you can kind of, yeah, there you go. You can see the seam. And this is just me from like having the first chapter read. Like, look at it. See, you can see the seam right there. I'm going to crack the seam. I'm not happy about that. But anyway, I think that's really pretty. I also picked up the other book that I'm really excited about, and it almost triggered a thing. Okay, so I'm doing something with this top shelf. I've talked about it 1,000 times. I haven't talked about the emergency purge that happens when I trigger something. All my new releases are coming up here, except if I already have plans to read them. So like Witchcraft for Wayward Girls is in the other room because I'm reading that in March for her book club. And then I am currently reading Deep End, so that is not up there on the shelf. And then all of my book box books that I'm getting go in another room as well, as long as they're going in those videos. Like any special editions I get go up there. I probably could remove Iron Gold because I am reading that in April because I'm waiting for the full dramatized adaptation to come out, but I feel bad removing that just in case I don't read it. So I feel like that does need to stay there to make sure I do pick it up because it's not for a video, it's just for my own personal reading plans. So I have decided that if we run out of space, if I buy a book and it does not fit up here, which we are out of space, we are officially out of space up here. If I buy a book that I don't immediately start reading, and it does not fit up here, if one comes in the mail, anything like that, again, not including book boxes, etc., it will trigger an emergency purge of new releases. So that means I'm basically going to probably do like a random number generator and have to read at least 3 of the books on the shelf to bring the number down in an emergency purge, because like I said, I don't want to just like have new releases floating around the house without plans to read them. So they're all supposed to be up here. So I'm out of space officially. But anyway, luckily did not do a purge. I almost did because I almost bought a 3rd book when I was at the bookstore, but it did not. So I'm hoping that I can read some stuff up here before that happens. But I also ended up getting the new Libre. I have fingers crossed that it's going to be fantastic. It's really pretty. I like this edition. I also love that it's not huge. Like, I actually like that it's like kind of a cute little copy of the book. It's not as big as I thought either. Like, I thought it was like massive, but it is a reasonably sized book. So I'm really excited about this one as well. And it's so pretty. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm definitely that person who is kind of not into buying the super special editions anymore at Barnes & Noble just because I've had no good luck. But I've already read Libre, so I was already going to buy this, so that makes sense to get the special edition. And then same with the Ali Hazelwood, I love Ali Hazelwood's books, so that makes sense to get the special edition of. Anyway, that is the quick update. I've only read like a chapter of this, and I'm already a little bit nervous that this is going to be more like Not in Love, which is more erotic fiction than just like romance, because it's already giving me that vibe. But I just love Ali Hazelwood's writing, so as long as it's not boring, because I was also bored by Not in Love. That was my major problem with it. That, and yeah, the sex scenes were terrifying, to be honest. They were not my thing. As long as this doesn't feel like lust instead of love, I will like it. So I am nervous, but I'm very hopeful because it's so pretty. So I'm gonna try my dangdest to like this book. So yeah, I've read about a chapter. Feels like an Ali Hazelwood. A little bit nervous, but we're gonna continue reading it. Okay, I'm about to head to the gym and probably afterwards get some Starbucks. But I figured I would update you guys on Deep End. First of all, before we get into my thoughts, I am 150 pages into this. Before I get into my thoughts, my parents watch this channel. My parents watch this channel. If you've read this, you know what I'm talking about. Mom, Dad, if you're watching this, please don't. Please go away. I'm gonna warn them not to watch this one. Because I can't. Anyone who knows me, who is watching this, please don't. Just sign off here. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. At least not this review specifically. No, yeah, I'm gonna pre-warn them that they cannot watch this one. Too bad I can't put like specific blocks where I just like don't allow certain accounts to watch certain videos. But yeah, I'm gonna give them another 3 seconds to not be watching this video. 3, 2, 1. This is about BDSM. Imagine my surprise when like chapter 2 pops up and it's like, oh, I'm into this, and I'm like, what? There was no warning. I've read this a couple times. There's absolutely no warning. This is like, okay. So we're following our main character, Scarlett, and she is a diver for Stanford. And I love that it's taking place at Stanford because there is a surprise guest appearance by 2 characters, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I love the throwback in this. And so she is kind of obsessed with obviously perfecting her diving. She had dreams of like the Olympics. She does want an NCAA title. And she also is prepping to go to med school. And so that's her whole life, is studying and diving. And that is it. She has kind of kept herself away from the social scene. She's not friends with anyone a lot. Like, she knows them. She talks to them at practice. But she doesn't really like highly engage with them. And so like this book is kind of like her opening up to that and realizing that life is more than just being this absolute perfectionist. She definitely also is dealing with PTSD from two separate issues. So she had some mental abuse when she was younger, but she also had this insane injury that happened a year or two right before this book started, so she's trying to get over a mental block of one of her dives. So I love the backstory, and she's slowly becoming friends with her diving team, and I love it. I love the diving aspect of this. I love the swimming aspect. I love the friendships that are blossoming in this. I love it. I do feel like Scarlet is a bit of a Bella Swan, where everyone else has so much more personality than she does, although our main boy character, Lucas, I think it's Lucas, because he is Swedish, so I don't know if there's like a different pronunciation of that, is also kind of a Bella Swan. Like, he also has no personality, so I feel like it almost works that way. I'm assuming once they start coming out of the shells, because they're both kind of very reserved, super reserved people, so I assume the more we go through the story, the more we're going to get those personalities. Like, we're already getting a little bit more of Lucas's personality. Scarlet's still struggling a bit. Like, I feel like even in her inner monologue, there just isn't a ton of personality. But you're still rooting for her, so I feel like that was done well. I just wish there was a little bit more. Thing is, luckily, 150 pages, I was worried. I was worried because, like, chapter 2 or 3, it's brought up that, so the main other storyline going on in this book is her diving friend, Penelope, is known as this power couple with Lucas, and they are in the midst of breaking up and end up breaking up. It's not a spoiler, but she finds out that he's into BDSM, and I feel like that shouldn't be a surprise, so I'm going to talk about it. Like, that shouldn't be like a surprise kind of thing. Like, I feel like that should be on the back here, because some people don't want to read about that. Like, I'm giving it a chance because it's Sally Hazelwood, and I'm actually, like, loving the backstory that's going on. I just don't know what's going to happen when that actually starts. Like, I'm a little nervous. I'm in over my head with this book. But again, 150 pages in, no sex so far. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. We're building relationships, building things happening. Which is the only reason I'm continuing. Because if we had a sex scene on page 2... I would have been out. So yeah, that's kind of the side thing going on. The part that I don't love, but I feel like Allie's doing a pretty good job with it so far, oh gosh, is the fact that Penelope and Scarlet are becoming, like, best friends in this book. And Scarlet is about to start sleeping with her ex-boyfriend Lucas. And it's weird. Like, it's weird. They acknowledge it's weird even. But it's weird. Like, I'm uncomfy. And Penelope every once in a while will bring up, like, these sexual experiences that her and Lucas have had together. And I'm sitting there like, this is so uncomfy. I hope now that, like, Penelope knows what's going on. Because that was also one thing I was like, are we going to get to the end of this book and, like, she's going to find out and we're going to have this explosive friendship breakup and boyfriend breakup and all this stuff going on. So that was making me nervous, but it's been done well so far. But I'm hoping Penelope stops bringing up things that her and Lucas have done, because that just, it feels a little toxic to the friendship. Like, if you give your blessing to your friend and your ex-boyfriend to start hooking up, I think it's weird if you talk about past sexual things with said friend. I think that's weird. I think that's a little weird and a little territorial feeling. So I don't know how well this friendship is gonna work. It feels very uncomfy to me, and I know I would not be in that position. I would not. No, too weird. So that's, like, the only part I'm not vibing with is that friendship, but I feel like it's, like, part of why the story is so compelling to keep reading, because you're like, oh gosh, what's gonna happen next? I also don't love that they're keeping their breakup a secret, so everyone's at some point gonna think that Lucas and Scarlet are cheating, and yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that either. So there's some stuff in there that I don't like, but I'm actually obsessed with this book. I don't know why. I feel like it's the candid way we're talking about how, like, trusting sex should be, and it's basically taking 50 Shades of Grey and correcting everything wrong with it about talking about consent and knowing everything that's going on and matching what you like with each other. And I feel like this is a very healthy sex positive book which I love to see as someone who worked in public health, specifically on the sex side of things and educating people on safe sex and safe sex practices and safe partners. And I love seeing that. I love seeing how positive this is and of an experience this is. So I'm loving it. And it's weirding me out that I'm loving it so much. But Ali Hazel knows how to write a story. And I think that's the difference between this and Not in Love. Part of me really wants to give Not in Love another shot. But I want to say it was just, I don't know. I feel like she jumped into the sex too fast in that one. At least it felt like it. And I didn't like the story. Like, I can remember every single book I've read by Ali Hazelwood. I can remember the plot. I cannot remember the plot in Not in Love. So it makes me think I was just bored by the book. And that was mostly why I was not enjoying it. Because I know the sex is going to get crazy in this. But I'm okay with that. And I wasn't okay with it in Not in Love. And I think that's just because I didn't like the plot. So now I'm like, oh, okay. So as long as the plot is good and I like the characters, I can do books like this. Because I've been avoiding books like this. Because I thought I would be totally off-put by the sex in them. But I feel like Bride was a good example of, like, I can deal with it as long as I love the characters and the plot. Because Bride was my second favorite book last year. Is this going to be a 5-star? That would be wild. That would be crazy. But anyway, I love this cover. I love the colors. I love the sprayed edges. I'm literally obsessed with this book. Anytime I look at it, I'm just like, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So anyway, I probably am finishing this today. Like, I am that obsessed with this book. I probably will finish it today. It is so readable. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. No one is as surprised as I am based on what this book is about, but I'm loving it. So let's continue. And I really hope it doesn't have some super cringy things later on, like plot-wise. Like, I know it's going to have cringy sex things. I know it is. Anything like that is cringy to me. I hope the plot stays chill and it doesn't get it too cringy. Like, I'm really worried about the third act drama breakup kind of thing. So, okay, we're gonna continue reading this. I'm gonna go to the gym, continue this, and we're just gonna have a fun Friday. Okay, it is 9 o'clock and I have finally finished Deep End. And I forgot to mention I was using my little mermaid bookmark that I just got. It is so perfect for this. So before I get into the review, and I have to be careful because I feel like there is kind of a spoilery thing although I 100% saw it coming. I 1000% saw this coming. I was like, Allie's gonna do this and I'm gonna be mad about it. I'm gonna be mad about it because I can see it a mile away. It's obvious it's something that's going to happen, but I don't want to talk about it just in case you want to be a little surprised about the twist, kind of. So I am giving this a 4-star, which is kind of sad because it actually was a 5-star for most of the book. It is not nearly as BDSM focused as I thought it was going to be, which thank God, because I don't think I could have handled that. It was more BDSM with like them talking about it and the actual like talking while they were having sex side of things, and less in the actual real actions, in my personal opinion. It was still pretty like chill. Like it didn't go all out like what you would expect with the way that they were kind of talking about things. But I'm giving it a 4-star because it definitely dragged out the ex-girlfriend plotline that I was not enjoying, with our main character being best friends with the ex-girlfriend. It was just very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable for most of the book, and it just got worse as the book kept going, and it became like a major thing in the book, which I had a feeling it would. I also did not love the end that much. There was a sex scene towards the end that to me bordered on suspicious. Like, it was clearly written with, yes, it was consensual, but there was a part of it that it didn't feel good. Like it felt a little yucky. And I was like, this is borderline. We're bordering on something that should not be in a romance book. Unless it is specifically a dark romance, because it was just a little bit suspicious in that one scene. And I just didn't like the end because I think our main character is just too nice, to be honest, because a character does something and I would never forgive that character. I just wouldn't. I don't care what they say afterwards. I would never be friends with this person ever again for the way they reacted to a situation. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm not a good person like Scarlett. I am not a patient person with people who are like this. And personally, I think this person is one of those people who they are about themselves. They will suck the life out of somebody else to make their own life better, and will give nothing back in return. Like, it seems like they are because they're bubbly and happy to be around and stuff. But when you really like look at their actions and look at what they've done for you versus what you've done for them, they are a soul sucker. And that was my biggest problem, because I think this character is that type of person, and I was really sad about that. Like, I did not want that to be the thing, but I was pretty sure it was gonna be the thing. But I don't like that all was just kind of forgiven and it was like we're moving along and everything is fine. I don't think I'd ever be able to talk to that person again for how bad it was, that specific situation and everything surrounding it and what was said and the ramifications of it. But again, I am not a super forgiving person. But yeah, I'm giving it a 4-star. I just wish I'd liked the ending more. And the characters still were pretty bland compared to how her normal characters are. So I just wanted a little bit more out of that. And it did turn a little bit more into lust heavy towards the end than romance. I wanted more romantic moments, which there were a decent number, but I definitely wanted more of them. So I had a good time reading this, more than I thought I was when I started this. I really, really enjoyed this book, and I'm definitely gonna add this to a list of Allie Hazelwood books that I love. So I'm really excited that this went on the yay, I love it, instead of ooh, yikes. So we were definitely winning on the yay, I love it side. I'm really sad though. I was really hoping this was gonna be a 5-star and we'd have 2 favorites from Allie Hazelwood 2 years in a row. That would have been so good. So anyway, finished this. I still love this edition. I'm really glad I got the Outcry edition because I'm very excited. I really did love this book. I just had too many issues with it to give it anything higher than a 4-star. So I know I said I was gonna read People We Meet on Vacation, but I don't think this is the right Emily Henry to start with. It is like one of like people's least favorites, and I don't really like friends to lovers type of books. So I think to like this book, I feel like I need to go in it with more Emily Henry kind of under my belt. So I do have Book Lovers and Funny Story, which I think both of those have a chance to be 5 stars. And I don't want to read stuff right now that I know I'm not going to like probably 100% love. Like, I could, but I'm not convinced of it. And especially with an author that I really, really want to like. So, like, it's different if, like, I read Icebreaker, is that what it's called? Icebreaker, and I don't like that. whatever, like, I'm not expecting to love that one. But an Emily Henry book, I really want my first one by Emily Henry to, like, knock me out of the park. So I did put up a poll on YouTube, and I'm having people vote between the three. So, I mean, this could win, and I still will end up reading it. But I put up Funny Story, Book Lovers, and this one, and I feel like Book Lovers or Funny Story are gonna win. And they have much higher ratings on Goodreads. This one actually has, like, kind of a low rating for an Emily Henry. So, I'm hoping it's one of the other two. I don't care which one. I kind of do want to read Funny Story. But yeah, so we're not potentially gonna read People Who Moon on Vacation, but it still counts because it's an Emily Henry. Like, I at least pulled an Emily Henry book, and I will be reading Emily Henry. But we're gonna read something else next while I wait for that poll. That poll I think is gonna go for about 24 hours. I kind of just want to read something very simple. I feel like an Emily Henry is gonna take up more of my mental faculties. But I enjoyed Deep End so much, like I kind of just want to continue this role of romance books. The bad thing is I kind of want to read Icebreaker. Like, I really kind of want to read Icebreaker. I feel like if I'm going to enjoy it, this is, like, the perfect time that I'm going to enjoy it, potentially. Because I'm, like, not sex averse right now. Because sometimes I just really don't want to read a book that has a lot of sex scenes in it. And I don't have, like, most of my romance books aren't that way. Icebreaker's, like, the only one. So I'm really tempted just to read Icebreaker. Let's pull from the TBR jar. If it's one that I just really don't want to read, we'll read Icebreaker. I love how it's supposed to be like, this is picking my TBR, but it's not. Like, it's literally not. So if you pull it and I really don't want to read it, we'll read Icebreaker. I'm hoping. Is it Heart? No, what is it? I have it literally right here. It is Icebreaker. Okay. I was starting to majorly second guess myself. Okay. So part of me is hoping that I just really don't want to read the book in here because I kind of want to read Icebreaker. Okay. So this is going to be our pick. Just My Type. Yeah, I don't want to read that one. I don't want to read that one. I've had that one for a while. I don't want to read it. We're going to read Icebreaker. I'm going to put that back in, though, because if I do end up reading more, then I could pull that one again. Not me, like, completely ignoring the TBR choices. We're going to read Icebreaker. I'm really nervous, and I really want to like this because this edition is gorgeous. But I need to read this. I need to read this because this is definitely a book that's like, this could be a DNF, and it does not need to sit on my shelves for so long knowing it could be a DNF. So let's see. We read Deep End, we're gonna read an Emily Henry, and now we're gonna move on to Icebreaker. So let's go read Icebreaker. I love how every clip is basically gonna be me in this corner because I'm not doing like anything this week except for reading and going to the gym, and that's pretty much it. Even the gym is not that much since I fell and hurt my tailbone, so I haven't been doing that much either. So it's really just me sitting here and reading. But I didn't really have that much to update. I ended up finishing Icebreaker, so I actually have finished Icebreaker. I did try to DNF it at 60% in, but I literally just got this book as a Christmas present, so I didn't want to DNF this, so I just ended up finishing it. It's not as bad as everyone says it is, okay? That was like the biggest takeaway for me, was this is not as bad as everyone says it is. The writing is actually really good. Like, there weren't really, like, it flowed really, really well. There were no, like, real mistakes that I noticed, and I didn't feel like I was, like, actively trying to read what was going on in the book. It just flowed really well. I was impressed with that. Unfortunately, this is definitely not my type of romance. I am giving it a 2-star. I almost was at like a 2.5 because I was starting to like the end, but that epilogue pretty much killed it for me. I did not like the epilogue. There generally just was too much sex in this and not enough relationship things, in my opinion. I didn't really buy the romance. So this is following our main character, Anastasia, who is an ice skater, and she is a pairs ice skater who has Olympic dreams. And then we're following our other main character, who is Nathan, who is slated to go to the NHL the year after his graduation. He plays for the college ice hockey team, and they start like a romance kind of thing. So I think I just don't like college romances. Like, see, this one focused heavily on like the college parties and college groups and things that happen in college. While even though this one was taking place in college, it didn't focus on any of that stuff that much. Like, there were like 1 or 2 parties, but they seemed more to be like staff parties. Like, they had to go to like a coach's party, so it's more like fancy stuff. It was more about the swimming and the sport side of things and the romance relating to that, while this really kind of cut out a lot of the sports stuff. Like, we kind of like, I liked the beginning of this book because it was heavily talking about their hopes for this being a good hockey season and this being a good ice skating season and hopefully going to the Olympics, and I loved that. But when all of that went away, I didn't really like the book anymore because it focused again on more of the college side of things and partying and stuff like that. And I just don't think I like that in a book. So I think that was the big difference between these two books, because there are quite a bit of similarities. This one was, everyone was saying this one is like one of the dirtiest books I've ever read. This to me was so much worse. Like, I was skipping sex scenes, actively skipping them halfway through the book because I was just like, this is absurd. Like, this is actually absurd. And to me, I didn't buy the romance in this, so I didn't care about the sex scenes, and I really didn't care about the romance too much, actually, which is the sad part. This one, I actually cared about the romance. I still didn't love the amount of sex scenes. There were too many for me, but I was able to deal with them because I bought the romance and the storyline that was going on behind the scenes. And that's the problem with this one. I just didn't buy it. I was more interested in the side characters than the actual main characters. So I don't know. I think that's the biggest problem, is if you don't buy the romance in a romance book, I feel like you can't give it a good rating. So this is eventually going to get purged. I am going to keep this for a little bit, at least just for the sprayed edges. I just love this copy so much, and I did finish it at least. So I'm giving it a 2-star. It's kind of the similar situation of Nightmare Before Christmas, which I gave a 2. I think I liked this one better than that one. And I think I gave Nightmare Before Christmas a 2.5. Nightmare Before Christmas is getting a 2. This is also getting a 2. They're about the same about how I feel about them. This one I also think is way too long. For what this is so long. 430 pages. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. If you were to take out the sex scenes, it probably would be like 200 pages maybe. But again, I can like a book that has a lot of sex scenes. I loved A Court of Silver Flames, which we know. If you've read that, you know. It really just came down to lack of plot. We kind of lost the plot in the middle of the book, and then I didn't buy the romance. So if I bought the romance, I think I actually could have given this like a 3 or 4 star because the writing was really good. So unfortunately, yeah, it's a 2-star, but I'm glad I finished it. I am glad I finished it, even though I really tried to DNF it. So it does look like it technically is not 9 o'clock yet. So I think the poll is going from 9 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it is only 6 o'clock, which is giving me an excuse to pick a new book before reading Book Lovers, because I'm just really nervous to read this. But it does look like we'll be reading Book Lovers. So I am hopeful that I'm going to enjoy this. But this is the Emily Henry that I believe we're going to be reading, and most people voted for this one. But I really want to see what else we pull. Maybe. Again, if I'm not, I'm kind of giving myself a lot of leniency in this video just because I'm doing another purge during this one at the same time, and that one has like 0 leniency. So this one I'm kind of just like trying to vibe with. I'm reading something if it's striking my fancy. If it's not, I'm going to be like, okay, whatever. I don't need to read that right now. But let's try and pick another one, because I'm basically going to read through the 14th. Like, I am trying. It is the 8th, so I still have, what, 6 more days? Well, no, I want to release it on the 14th, so like 5 more days. So I feel like I can get through 2 more books. So 1 more book and then Book Lovers. So this is probably our last pick. Okay, so we have this one. I don't really have anything in mind that I want to read. What does that say? Wedding Dashers. Okay, yes. Okay, I was really hoping that I was going to pick one of my new releases because that shelf is full. That shelf is full, and I don't want to trigger an emergency purge if I get 1 more book and it doesn't fit on that shelf. So, Wedding Dashers. This is a brand new release. I just got this from Book of the Month, and I am super excited about this. And it says it's going to be a riotously fun debut romance, and it has to do with basically trying to get to a wedding, and it's 2 stranded wedding guests. So that's kind of all I want to know. Like, I don't really want to go into it knowing too much, but this sounds really, really fun and kind of a really good change of pace compared to what Icebreaker and Deep End were. Like, this is a lot different, so hopefully I'm liking this. So yeah, we're gonna move on to reading Wedding Dashers and then probably Book Lovers. So I'll update you depending on what I do. A long day. Can you tell it's been a long day? I managed to go to the gym this morning though, which I'm really proud of, even though my tailbone is killing me. So I may have to take off the rest of the week and just rest it because it's bad. Like I thought it was getting better, and I think I tweaked it yesterday or Saturday, because today's Monday. I think I tweaked it a little bit when I was in the car. I was trying to jerk the seat back, and it like pulsed in anger when I did that. So I think I may have like tweaked it a little bit. Anyway, I don't know if I've ever showed you guys this. I'm working on a dragon. It was supposed to be the size of my arm, maybe shorter than that, but I used a really much larger hook, not thinking it would have that much of an effect on it because I'm still newer-ish to crocheting. So this is like my first like big project, but it wasn't supposed to be this big. I definitely, the hook that I used was way too big. It was way too big because, like I said, it's supposed to be like this big, and it's it's massive. But I just put the little leggies on it. Right now it just looks like the Loch Ness Monster. But I do have wings because it is supposed to be a dragon, but they're so tight. It's gonna be so funny. The body is just, it's so big. I love the tail though. The tail's really cute. But so this is what I have right now. So I'm working on the wings right now. But I figured I would show you guys what I've been working on. He's so cute though. Like he's a cute little thing, but he's huge. Anyway, book update that I have is I am DNFing Wedding Dashers, which comes as a massive surprise to me. So I actually got 120 pages into this, and I literally I cannot continue with this book. I hate these characters. I hate these characters so much. There is nothing that will make me DNF a book faster than absolutely despising the characters. And for a romance where, like, you know, you're kind of supposed to like the characters and want them to be together, I literally hate them. I hate her. She literally just wants to fight with our main character just because. Like, she just hates him, and I get like a little bit of the reason, but generally she hates him for really not much of a reason. Like, even when he's being nice, she is just being absolutely atrocious and awful. But then at the same time, he is like such a major ick. Like, he is like a walking red flag, and I don't want them together because I cannot stand either one of them. And I hated everything. Like, I hated the characters. I hated the situation that was happening. Everyone is awful. Everyone is an awful human being in this book, including the sister who's getting married. They're just, everybody is terrible. And I feel like I read a different book than what everyone else read, because I'm reading through these reviews. It's got like a 4.15 right now. It's like a 800 and something reviews, and people love this, love it. They love it. They love this book. They love the character. They love the plot. They love everything about it. And I'm sitting there going, like, I hate this. So we're purging this one. We are purging the Wedding Crashers, and I'm super upset because it's a brand new release, and it should be everything that I love. Like, it should be everything I love. We have kind of like enemies to lovers, forced proximity. We just have such good things, but the way they're going about hating each other is just unbearable. So I am DNFing this one. So the plan is still to read Book Lovers, but I kind of want it to be the final book. I'm just gonna hold it like this. I want it to be the final book, so I am gonna attempt to read something else because it is Monday night, and that means I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's cutting it close to read Book Lovers. Okay, let's pull one. If it's short, I will attempt it, but I am gonna give myself enough time to read Book Lovers. We will be reading Book Lovers in this vlog, even if it kills me, even if I have to stay up all night Thursday night. We will be reading Book Lovers, but I do want to see if I can sneak in one more. I'm hoping it's not a Mariana Zapata because those are really long and I've heard really slow burns, so that is not what I want. I'm just hoping for something super quick paced. View Between the Lines could be really fast. Dating and Dragons would probably be most ideal because that is a really short young adult romance. So we'll see. If I pick one that I don't want to read, I might just veto it and read Dating and Dragons, but we'll see. There's a lot of good options in here. Okay. I can't get just one. It keeps, okay, there we go. It kept giving me like 2 or 3 attached. Okay. Is this upside down? We have Just for the Summer. Is that the Abby Jimenez? That's the Abby Jimenez, isn't it? Oh, okay. Did Yours Truly or Just for the Summer come out first? I think it was Yours Truly. If that is the case, we'll read yours truly. I do like to read that type of stuff in order, even though it doesn't actually like need an order. But let's double check. For the Summer is Part of Your World number 3. So even though I pulled Just for the Summer, we are gonna try yours truly. That's long, isn't it? But Abby Jimenez books are really fast. So we're gonna attempt yours truly. And another super like anticipated book. We're getting through a lot of really anticipated books in this. Okay, let me go find it. I'm pretty sure I know where it is. Okay, here it is. Yours truly. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous about this because I read Part of Your World and made it my entire personality for, I'm pretty sure, like a whole year. So if I don't love this, I feel like I don't know who I am anymore. But yeah, we're gonna attempt to read yours truly. And oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I got another, where'd it go? I got another PR package today. It's definitely one that is not in my comfort zone, but it also sounds really, really good. And it's actually a type of book that my mom would love, but I ended up getting The Queens of Crime by Marie Benedict. And it's the same author who did The Mystery, what is it? The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, which I think I have upstairs somewhere, or at least I like looked at it, but it's following a bunch of like mystery thriller writers, and they are going to try and solve a real life murder. And it's taking place in 1930s. So not a historical fiction girly, but potentially could be a historical mystery girly. It just depends like what this does. But yeah, so I got this from Macmillan, and then I got this little note thing from them, and then it came with the cutest little, it's like a crime solving notepad. It's so cute. So I love that, and I might use it to take notes to try and solve it. And then it came with a pen that's actually really nice with the title of the book. So I'm pretty excited to try this one. If all else fails, if I don't end up vibing this one, my mom will end up getting this one from me. Either way, she's gonna get this one from me because she is like the guru of historical fiction. So she will eventually read this, and I'll give you my, her review about whether she liked it or not, so you guys know if you want to read it. But hopefully I read it and I end up liking it so I can review it. Since I did get a finished copy of this book, it's beautiful. Like, it's so pretty. But anyway, that is the update. We're gonna attempt to go read yours truly in a day, I think, tonight and tomorrow, so that I can do book lovers starting Wednesday morning or even Tuesday night. So that's kind of the plan. It's definitely rushed, but I wanted to get as many books in this vlog as possible since it is a purge and we've only purged one thing. Let's go read yours truly. We're inside of a bookshelf, so it may be a little bit kind of echoey sounding, I think. I don't know. I'm in one of the spare bedrooms. I'm in the spare bedroom that has the big this thing. This giant thing. the big bookcase. Because it is quite loud. My husband is playing a video game right now or whatever he's doing. And I have gotten 50% into yours truly, and I figured I would film somewhere other than my desk because that is literally the only place that I've filmed. I'm definitely gonna do the wrap up of this. I'm gonna do the rest of the clips not in that room just because it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. But I do have like the best quality of light in there just because everything's like close to my face. But anyway, I'm 51% into yours truly, and I'm having a great... Can you hear that? That's ice falling from the sky. I really hope you guys heard that. That was crazy. I thought something was attacking the house. Oh no, I hope our air is okay. Like, I'm not used to having a ton of ice where we used to live. We just didn't have like any weather except for rain, or it was hot. Like, those are the two options. So anyway, 51% into yours truly. I'm having a great time. This is so much fun. I definitely am not loving it as much as Part of Your World. There was just something so perfect about Part of Your World, but this is pretty dang close. Like, this is actually fantastic. I really love our main character. I do think our main character is a little bit too hot-headed. Like, she's a little bit too much for me personally. Like, I feel like me and her would be like best friends until she blew up at something, and then I'd be like, ooh, a little nervous about her. Like, she makes me a little, like, she's a bit unhinged. She makes me a little nervous. I love the main male character, but again, he's a little bit too anxious because it's making me feel anxious reading his sections. So like, I love both of them as characters, but there's like little things that are like my like perfect things that I'm like about in a character, if that makes sense. I don't know if that totally makes sense. Overall, really enjoying the story. We have fake dating in this, which is always so much fun. I do not love the miscommunication in this. There is actually quite a bit of miscommunication that just started happening at the 50% mark between our two main characters, which is the main problem. We're following our two main characters, and I don't know if she says her name Brianna or Brianna, because people say it two different ways, but I'm gonna say Brianna because I think that's the way I'm gonna remember to say it. We're following Brianna and Jacob, and they are both doctors at this hospital. Brianna's been there for 10 years. She's an ER doctor, and then Jacob is brand new there. He is also an ER doctor. And so she is trying to find a kidney for her brother. That's kind of like her backstory, and she kind of is like the caretaker in her family. And she also is just trying to figure herself out because she is going through a pretty nasty divorce, and she's just kind of given up on romance and love, and she's been trying to date and it's terrible, so she's just like, I'm not interested anymore. Our guy is kind of dealing with a similar situation where he is brand new to this hospital. He actually left his old hospital because his ex-girlfriend and brother work there, and it is a very complicated dynamic there. So he's still dealing with kind of the weird situation that has happened because of his brother and his ex-girlfriend. And so they kind of team up and they start hanging out. He's dealing with major anxiety problems, and he just feels like this comfort around our main female character. And it's just really cute. Like, it is really, really cute. There's a 3-legged Bernese Mountain Dog. So cute. Named Lieutenant Dan. That's hilarious. So I will say at the beginning of this, I had a bit of a hard time getting into the initial friendship because I felt like Abby Jimenez was trying a little bit too hard to make it obvious that they find each other funny, because every time they did something even remotely funny, the character would go, oh my god, he is like the funniest person ever, or she is just so hilarious, and it was like a lot. It was constant and a lot. So I wasn't loving that, but we've definitely backed off of that quite a bit and kind of calmed down the dialogue a little bit. So I was a bit iffy. Like, I still loved it, but I was a bit iffy on like like I was thinking potentially 5 stars. I right now I don't think it's gonna be a 5-star. I think it is gonna depend where the story goes, but I am kicking my feet at some parts. I do think there are a little bit of pacing problems. Like, I feel like we're just sitting in the story sometimes when we could be like exploring things and doing other things. So I just feel this one just doesn't feel as polished as Part of Your World was, because Part of Your World was like a masterpiece of a romance book. But again, still loving this one and having a great time, and loving that the character from the first book has been brought up and has been in the book. So I am loving that. But I think this is cute. I think this is fun. I'm really glad I decided to read this. Like, I'm glad I picked just for the summer and decided to go in actual order, because yes, I am happy with an order. So yeah, we're gonna continue reading this. I do plan to probably finish it tonight or tomorrow morning, and then potentially start Book Lovers. The bad part is if I finish this tonight, like the toxic part of me is so tempted to read just for the summer or try and pick something else. We'll see. It depends what I do with this, because I might end up not finishing this tonight. It is like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I only have 200 pages left, so I don't see why I can't finish it tonight. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. Okay, it's like 2 hours later. It's 9 o'clock. And yes, we have finished Yours Truly. I'll also have like water in my hair because I just brought the dog outside and it is pouring ice out of the sky. I think I brought that up in the last clip because of the loud bang. Finish Yours Truly. I am gonna give it a 4-star, and I was actually like really thinking it was like a 4.5, potentially a 5-star, like a soft 5-star, but that ending, I did not like the ending. This book had a chance to end with about 50 pages left, and it should have stopped. There was like a clear moment where I was like, oh, this would be a really, really good place to wrap the book up. This would be fantastic. And then it went on like another 50, 60 pages. And I was like, oh, and pretty much everything that happened after that, I wasn't a fan of. There was a trope that happened in romance that I really, really didn't like. There was like 2 third-act conflicts, because we had a third-act conflict. And then there was another one in the last 50 pages, so I didn't like that at all. And it was like, it was really annoying. And then, to be honest, I kind of felt like Jacob, our super sweet main character, got a bit steamrolled, to be honest, by our main character at the end. Like he was almost too accommodating to her, where he got like nothing. So I thought that was a bit odd compared to like the rest of the book was about how much they were like evens with each other, like they helped each other out, and it definitely felt like he got steamrolled at the end of the book. It was very strange. And so I didn't love that. So that definitely brought it down. So it's about a 4, which is really sad because I think the rest of the book was really, really good. And that last 50 pages just kind of ruined the book a little bit. Like, obviously it didn't because I'm still giving it a 4. It was still great, but I was really not a fan of that last 50 pages. So I was actually going to pick up the next Abby Jimenez, but I think I'm not going to. I think I'm going to wait. Ooh, although that makes me nervous because now I'm like, will I pick it up? Because I have such a bitter taste in my mouth for the last 50 pages of this. So now I'm in a debate. Do I try and read Just for the Summer? Do I try and read it and try and fit it in tonight and tomorrow, and then read Book Lovers tomorrow and Thursday? That just seems like so much. That seems like so much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read Book Lovers. I'm going to start Book Lovers tonight. Maybe even take a little break tonight. I might take a break tonight. But start Book Lovers either tonight or tomorrow morning, and then see what I read in that. And if I finish that early, we'll start Just for the Summer. If I don't finish Just for the Summer for the video, not a big deal. I'll just have it in my wrap up at the end of the month. I think that is the best plan. So we are moving on to Book Lovers, but so far this is going great, like for the most part. I'm a little disappointed with Yours Truly, but I feel like what I'm gonna take away from Yours Truly in the long run is that it was an overall really, really good book. I'm just like annoyed by it right now, but overall I feel like it's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is really enjoyable. Killed my original end date. So mad. Life just kind of got in the way. Like, it happens. I really wanted to put out the video today. It is February 14th. It is Valentine's Day. I really wanted it out today, but it's just not happening. And I'd rather just put this off until Sunday and finish this and even potentially fit in some of Just for the Summer, because I am gonna finish this today. I just didn't have the motivation to do it. I had to finish another book for a different video, and it put me in a reading slump, like pretty bad, for a whole day, which I know a lot of people that's like a day, but for me, not wanting to read at all for a whole day is actually crazy. So I didn't really, and then what really has distracted me, because I could have gotten over the reading slump because it wasn't that bad, it was more like I'm annoyed type of reading slump, but the real issue, and I'm really stressed right now, and I cannot read when I'm really stressed. My dog is having some medical problems. So I have a 14-and-a-half-old Shih Tzu. You guys have probably seen him in videos. He's having an issue right now. We think he might have a urinary tract infection. I have a doctor's appointment or a vet appointment at 11 o'clock today. So it is currently 8:30. It's 8:30. So I have about 2 hours before I need to leave for that. But yeah, normally he's one of those dogs who has like he has a bladder of steel. It is actually crazy. I normally have to drag him to go outside because he doesn't want to go. Like, it is insane the amount of time he can hold it, which he has had more accidents the older he's gotten. That's normal. Like, he forgets like he has to go, and then he'll just go in the house and you're like, okay. But that's different than what's going on right now. That's understandable. He just like will wait till the last second and then be like, oh shoot, and it's been like 8 hours. So we put him on kind of like a 4-hour schedule to just make sure he's been going, but he's started asking to go after 2 hours, an hour, waking up in the middle of the night and wanting to go, which is very unlike him because he likes his sleep more than anybody else that I know. The only time that happened is when he got his poop schedule off, which was a nightmare of a week for me and my husband, when he was pooping every night at 3 a.m. And that was awful. But we fixed that, and that was clearly he had to poop. Right now, it's only been 2 hours since he went out, and he hasn't had any water. That's the other thing. He stopped drinking water last night. He hasn't had any water since probably 5 o'clock yesterday, and that is incredibly unusual for him. So I'm going to take him out, but we think he's got a UTI or something going on because, yeah, it's only been 2 hours since he went out, and this is very odd for him. So I'm stressed. So I'm not reading that much because literally I'm just staring at him all day, because when you get to the age that he's at, you start getting worried that it's something else more serious. And he's never had a UTI. Like, I feel like that's shocking because I feel like all dogs at some point have had a UTI. He's never had one. So he also, if he's any type of hurt or any type of like anything is a problem with him, he just shuts down. He hates it. He hates feeling uncomfortable at all. He cannot function through it. So he's having the worst 2 days of his life. So it started the 12th, like the afternoon of the 12th is when we started noticing it. And then he was a little off yesterday, and then today, the poor thing is miserable. So I'm gonna take him out, and then I'm gonna read more, and then I guess I gotta do my update. That's why I'm actually on here. Let me see if he can sit for another 2 minutes. Because the thing is, he doesn't actually have to go to the bathroom. I'm pretty sure he just feels like he has to, but he doesn't actually have to. I am about 50% into this. I think I'm 46% into Book Lovers. I feel like I'm gonna get roasted for this. I think my expectations were just too high. I think I legitimately waited too long to read one of her books because it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing super special about it. It's a bit insta-lovey, to be honest. And I just kind of am I'm not like super buying the romance right now. And I honestly just do think my expectations were too high. And this is just not what I was expecting. Like, this is straight up a romance. And for some reason, the way people are talking about her books, I was expecting, like, chick lit almost. Like, emotional, romantic chick lit. Or literary fiction, whatever. This is just romance. It's just straight up romance with, like, side character plots. So, it's interesting. I wasn't expecting this. I'll give a full update. I really gotta go take him out. But I'll give a full update when I finish this. I'll talk about what it's about and my full review for it when I finish it. But yeah, I'm gonna go take the dog out and continue reading this. We are officially done our romance purge. I was really hoping that I would get one more book in, but after the last one, I just wasn't feeling reading another romance book. And I do have to really work on my Alcrite purge. I have not worked on my Alcrite purge at all, except filming the original clip back in January and picking the first book. Haven't done anything else. So I really got to work on that. So let's talk about the final book that we read, and that was Book Lovers. I am giving this a 2.5. I really did not enjoy this. I actually enjoyed a lot of aspects of this, but I do think it was just a generic romance book, and I actually didn't really like the way that the story was told. I feel like it could have been told in 2 different ways that would have been really, really good. And Emily Henry chose a 3rd way that just made it kind of boring. And I feel like this is an insane hot take about this book. And yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like part of it had to do with expectations. My expectations were through the roof. It's just a generic romance. Like, there's nothing really special about this. And I feel like I'm gonna get canceled for saying that. But I just thought this was mediocre for a romance book. Like I said, didn't really like what happened in it. So I'm gonna, this is a crazy thing to say. I'm gonna tell you how I wanted the book to go. Which again, I am not a writer. Emily Henry is a great writer. Her writing is really, really good. And people love her books. This is not saying anything about her. I am clearly the one who is wrong in this situation, but I'm gonna tell you about how I wanted this book to go. I loved the first couple of chapters. The fact that we are basing this book off of a main character who's been dumped by 4 boyfriends who have found their own romantic comedy Hallmark movie in small towns is literally perfection. So like I said, there were 2 ways that I wanted this book to go that they could have gone that would have been 5 stars for me, and it didn't do either. So the first direction it could have taken was stick with this main plot where you have the kind of run-down town that she's going to. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away. No spoilers without anything super specific. But yeah, you could have stuck with the rundown town, and I would have loved to see like a revitalization storyline of where you're trying to revitalize the town and you're trying to turn it into like a tourist destination for the book. I think that would have been really, really fun. And I wish it would have leaned more into the shepherd aspect of it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And the small town romance part of it, and like this town almost trying to make her into a Hallmark character. I would have loved that. And you can keep everything else, but it didn't go far enough. Like it just didn't. And I also feel like it would have been fun, like, again, keep the rundown town thing, and you can have like a character of like the town drunk or the town eccentric. You can have all these different characters in this story that you would find in these smaller towns. And it didn't do any of that. I feel like we didn't get to know any of the townspeople, like, at all. Like, even the people that were brought up, it was just very shallow, their characterization, and we focused almost entirely on the sister, and arguably the sister storyline is probably the least interesting. And that's probably a personal preference just because it was a pregnancy storyline, but I kind of just thought it was really boring. Like, it was. I would have much rather her go to this town and try and be persuaded by these townsfolk, and her being like, oh God, like terrified the entire time because they're trying to turn her into townsfolk. I think that would have been so good. The other route that I actually would have absolutely loved is if our main character ended up going to this town and it was like pristine. It was exactly like the book was saying. It's overly charming, etc. And then the book leaned into like the fact that it, like, the town was out to get her. Like, it was actively trying to make her part of the town. So like she would wreck her car in a ditch, and the handsome construction man would walk up and she's like, really? And stuff like that would happen. I really wanted them to lean into that opening section where she's talking about all of her boyfriends leaving her. I think it would have been so good to just make it super like put her in these scenarios where she is actively like, I saw this on Hallmark. I literally saw this on Hallmark. I read a book about this. And I think that's where it lost me, is because it didn't do any of that. And I think it would have been literally the best book I've ever read if it had leaned into that, because again, I loved the first 2 chapters. So otherwise, I just thought it was kind of boring. I thought it was boring. I actually did not really buy the romance because it was incredibly insta-love. I'm kind of surprised how many people love this, because like Charlie was like immediately into her, like very obvious to everybody, including our main character. Like she knew like right away that he was into her. And so that was kind of disappointing because I didn't get any type of chemistry between them, because the second there's that immediate lust, attraction, romance thing that immediately happens, I'm like, ew, like it loses all interest for me. So yeah, and that's what the main thing was. It was boring, and I didn't buy the romance. So I was incredibly disappointed in this book. This probably will be on my most disappointed of the year lists already. So let's talk about everything that we read in this video. So this is our little stack. We got through quite a few things, and this actually does feel like a purge video officially, because I am actually purging 4 of these books. Let's talk about it, because I am changing some things and stuff that I said earlier. So the first thing that we read was Deep End. I think I originally gave it a 4-star. I am actually going to downgrade it to a 3.5, just because like thinking back on this book, the romance was just lacking a bit for me, and like I said, I really didn't love that ending. So based on what other stuff that I've read in here and kind of adjusting my romance star rating, because all my star ratings are different based on genre, like they are. Like fantasy books are totally different ranking from romance books and from thriller books. So based on like the other books that I read and my vibes with everything, I am lowering this to a 3.5, but I still very much enjoy this and I am keeping this. Next up, we read Icebreaker. I think I gave it a 2-star originally. I am lowering it to a 1.5 based on my rating for book lovers. And I actually am going to purge this. Now that I've sat with it for a little while, I think it's beautiful, but I do not need it. I'm not going to read the rest of the series. I have no interest in reading the rest of the series, even if they come out with the pretty special editions, which I did see. Wildfire, I think, is the second one, and it is going to have a very pretty edition I saw. But there's no point in keeping it when I literally gave it a 1.5. And it potentially is going to be on my worst list of the year, depending on what else we read this year. This wasn't my vibe. Romance didn't work for me in this one, and the plot was paper thin. So 1.5, and I am purging it. Next up, we have the worst book. Actually hated this. This is a DNF, The Wedding Dashers, and like I just hated everything about this. This just so didn't work for me. I hated the characters so much. I hated the romance. I hated everything about this book, which is wild because I feel like this is a book I should have absolutely loved, but this was arguably so bad. I think this will work for a lot of people. If they like a certain dynamic between their characters, it'll really work. Just grated on my nerves so badly and I could not stand it. So this is a DNF because I actively didn't like the book. Because sometimes it's like I can't get past the writing. I just don't really like the plot. There's a thing I didn't like. This is literally everything. And of course we are purging this one. Next up, we read Yours Truly. This gets a 4-star. I'm really sad about this one because I did not love the end. I think this book should have ended about 50 pages before it did, and that could have been like a 4.5. I don't think it was 5-star. Like it wasn't a 5-star feeling even from the beginning, but it could have been like a 4.25 or 4.5. But I really hated that end. I really didn't like how this ended. And I feel like I literally like want to rip out the last 50 pages of this book because there was a point that it should have ended. It was very obvious that it should have ended there. And then it just kept going. And that's when it went off the rails. And personally did a trope that I really hate, but it's still really good. It was still written really well. I really liked the romance kind of until the ending. And it just really worked for me. This was just a lot of fun. So definitely keeping this one. And then we have our final book that we read in this vlog, and that was Book Lovers. This is a 2.5, just generally disappointed and bored with the entire story, didn't buy the romance, and I am purging it, which is crazy. Like, that's actually crazy. So this actually worked. Like, this totally worked. And even though like there were 3 books that I didn't like, I still just had a great time in this vlog. Like, even like Icebreaker, didn't love it, but I still had moments where I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And same thing with Book Lovers. There were moments that I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. So I kind of had like a great time with this reading vlog. But yeah, we are keeping 2, Deep End and Yours Truly, and we are purging 3, Icebreaker, Wedding Dashers, and Book Lovers. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this mini little purge. I had such a fun time. I do plan to do mini purges throughout the year when I feel like I want to read like one specific genre. So definitely make sure you subscribe so you miss any future content, including those mini purges. We'll probably have a thriller one. We might have a horror mini purge. I don't know when they're gonna happen. They're just gonna randomly pop up. So definitely make sure you subscribe so you miss any of those. Definitely make sure to leave a comment down below if you read any of these or you're excited to read any of these, what you thought about them, positive or negative reviews. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.